In the name of God, who is the glowing city lights of mankind in the dark night sky. I'm going to read this paper that is about trade and the importance of trade in our understanding of countries and the world, and a great important understanding about our economy and our trade now is that here is about half of the world. It's round, but the important thing is that here is all of Asia, India, Middle East, and Africa. It's all right here. And if you are on any of this area here in China or India or Australia or any of these islands, and just imagine the things of trade from these areas. If you decided to travel instead this way, you would be traveling a long time, and you would meet mountains. You would meet great mountains here, or you would meet this other area here in the California coast. But certainly for them, and that would be a tremendous journey. It's a long travel. And if you were to just come from here, right over here, you would access all of these kingdoms here, or you could travel. If you go through the Red Sea, you could come into the White Sea, and by coming into the White Sea, you would access everyone. You could access all of these economies with your goods just by coming right around the Arabian Sea into the Red Sea, and you will quickly arrive. And the same thing goes for all of the life here. All of the life here and here. The quickest, the fastest way to reach all the rest of the world is right through the White Sea. And if you wanted to get here, you certainly wouldn't try to go this way. This would be a very long journey. So you would go this way because it would be very fast. The White Sea has a connection. It is connected with two other seas, and the other seas are not connected. This is not connected, not connected, not connected. These are 5 seas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But here, it's connected with the black and it's connected with the red. And it's also just tremendously large. This is probably the most important sea here. And it's controlled. There's 2 pearls that control access between these 3 seas. And that gets you from the north to the south and the south to the north. And that is Cairo. That's a gateway. Without them, you cannot pass from east to west. And Istanbul, you cannot pass from north to south without Istanbul. So, and there are 2 pearls in this sea known from ancient times here at the eastern shores. So as the trades of mankind were traveling through the red into the black, naturally this east shore becomes they become pearls. The economic power of mankind begins to develop there and to settle there. And it's a tremendous place to stand in the world, between the seas. And this is the fertile valley of the land of the two rivers. Iraq and Syria are the two rivers, and then Iran is the mountain chain, the highlands, the elevations. And these pearls are essential to understanding the economic power. Where it begins and where it ends is what I will read to you. And this mountain chain keeps a fortress to Tehran's back and pushes all of his energy this way. And you see that Tehran has the special interest in Basra. It's his natural flow of energy is going this way. And that's why it's such a tremendous thing when a bad leader comes into power. It has tremendous meaning to it, and it's never the leader who is causing the wars. It's the whole government. It's a whole approach. There's many men behind it. There's many men operating in a way that they must not operate. And that's what we are working against, this machine of bad thinking and wrongdoing. And so Tehran is coming this way towards Basra. This is a tremendous interest for them. And for Tehran to project this way, it's just not very helpful. So he naturally would look this way. And here are our pearls. So this is due to the mankind began to focus his energies here, and it will never end. It will never stop. There will never be a time when this area is not sacred to mankind and that you would not have people there. This is insanity and absolutely against God. So let's read the paper. And these are the roses for Damascus, because our New Year's resolution is that Damascus, the people, if there's anyone left there, must march to Sednaya prison and tell the guards, and we cannot come as 1,000. We must come in full force. They must feel us like they feel the ocean under them. And we must go to Sednaya prison and tell the handful of guards, and with all of us, we must be 1 million people. If there's even 1 million there, we must be 500,000 people, like the people of Ishbid did to Mohammed Morsi when they came as millions. And truly it was not even they could remove him. So the roses are the symbol that says, I am going to come onto the streets on June 1st of 2024 for the people of Sednaya prison. We are going to walk to Sednaya, and we are going to tell them, open the doors and release all of the prisoners now, because we are not afraid that they are going to steal something. in the name of God, who is the glowing city lights of mankind in the dark night sky. Sharing the fruits of our labor across the world has become a powerful force of each of our economies. Mankind is thriving because of the sharing of the fruits of our labors. Who is one man to close the border of a country? Who has the authority to cut off part of the world from another? Closing of the borders for trade is a siege upon people. It must be known as a crime against humanity to close the borders of a country. 70 years ago, we wrote in international law that every man has the right to flee his country and to return safely. All borders must be open at all times. This is a natural law of the life of this world. When we share the fruits of our labors across the world, we must provide a mode of transportation. For thousands of years, the shipment was done from one city to another by land or by sea, using camels and sailing ships. Traveling with your trade across the land is the easiest startup business because it is natural for a man to acquire animals for bearing weight, and the land provides the food for the fuel for the animal's journey. Traveling with trade upon land does not need a big startup investment. This is why the trade over land is the lifeblood for small businesses. A small business needs to trade over land, and therefore smaller connections between the places of land are the seats of power for every small business. So this area here, we're not traveling overseas here. The power here, it must be small business. The integrity of this land, it must be a small business, because that's the natural infrastructure of economies. Travel with trade across the sea requires a big startup investment to purchase the vehicle for transportation across the sea. Travel or trade by sea allows more fruits of labor to travel farther in distance, and this makes them very desirable for the distant lands who cannot easily obtain these things. Trade by sea is always big business. In the quantity traded and the money earned, there is more volume of the economy traded via one sea passage than via one land passage. The sea is the fastest and the biggest volume of traffic for trade. We know that in modern history, all of the trade via land and sea will require a fuel for transportation, and this is different from ancient history. This makes petroleum pipelines and waterways the arteries for economic life. Most all of the life on the planet lives on one half of the world, and the other half is the Pacific Ocean. You cannot understand this if you look at a flat map of a textbook. You can see it on Google Earth. It will take a long time to travel across the Pacific Ocean. It has many time zones of travel. Most all of mankind is in the northern hemisphere on one half of the planet. There are 5 seas in the center of the landmass where most all of mankind are situated on the planet. The 5 seas allow for the most powerful economic force of connection for mankind upon these lands. This is a big part of our connection to each other on the planet and the economy of every land. We thrive only because we obtain the fruits of each other's labor. If the borders are closed, the homes will be empty. There will be no fruits of labor adorning the homes and filling it with the good works of so many hands of men and women. Everything you have in your home, someone's hands have made it and brought it to you. The people of ancient times would be shocked to see what our economy has become, and what our households have become. Thousands of hands have graced your homes. There's no world war. This is a fantasy. There is only mankind and his economy. And at this time, it is clear the economy is under attack. The economy was besieged by stopping the right for trade in one place. This is denying the lifeblood of mankind to the area. A city is the focusing of the trade of mankind. Every city has become a city because people have chosen to live together, to work together, and to share the fruits of the labors in the city, and to trade the excess of the production with trading posts abroad. The significance of the city is the economic power that it focalized by mankind when he builds the city. The city is a powerful economic force. The city is a pillar of economic power. The city is equal to economic power. When a man builds a city, he means to say, here is the economic power base. This makes any city on the 5 seas of the Middle East a powerful part of the economy of the world, and certainly any city on the 5 seas that controls the movement from one sea to another sea would be a gateway for economic life. And lo, there are 5 pearly cities. They have focused mankind's fruits of every labor, and they stand as gateways for economic life in this world. Mankind himself has chosen to inhabit these 5 locations on the planet. They are very big cities. They are upon gateways of economic traffic from east to west upon the inhabited hemisphere of the planet. They are economic forces of mankind. The pearl city of the Red Sea is Cairo. The pearl city of the White Sea is Damascus and Jerusalem. The pearl city of the Caspian Sea is Tehran. The pearl city of the Arabian Sea is Basra. And the pearl city of the Black Sea is Istanbul. And you can see all 5 pearls here. All 5 right here. There will be no big business and no kings that can survive an economic power struggle between each other with the intention of monopolizing power. The shores of economic power will forever, as a force of nature, focus by the existence of mankind into those 5 pearls. The 5 pearls are the beginning and the end of any power struggle. And those 5 pearl cities are millions upon millions of people. And if ever those governments and those leaders lost those millions upon millions, he would lose his city. He would lose his base. And if he remained and the people did not, he would be only defending a shell, an empty shell, and it would not survive. It could never. There is a power struggle today in the White Sea. The pearl city of the White Sea is twin cities named Damascus and Jerusalem. The White Sea is the only sea that has a connection with 2 seas, because the power of the connection between the 3 seas of the 5 seas of the Middle East, there is more than 1 pearl on the White Sea. The White Sea connects with the Black Sea in the north and the Red Sea in the south. Istanbul controls the travel and economic connections from the Black Sea to the White Sea, and therefore the access from the far northeast of the hemisphere with the waterways of the southeast of the inhabited planet. The twin pearls of the White Sea, named Damascus and Jerusalem, have a strong economic connection with the pearl of the Black Sea, Istanbul. The White Sea connects with the Red Sea in the south. Cairo controls the travel and economic connections from the Red Sea to the White Sea. Therefore, Cairo controls access to the far east of the planet, to the far west of the planet via waterways. The twin pearls of the White Sea named Damascus and Jerusalem. They have a strong economic connection with the pearl of the Red Sea, Cairo. It hurts to see what's happening in Gaza. I am crying after seeing it on television. Every time I see it on television, I cry. It's so sad. It's so sad. How could this happen? And it's continuing. How could it continue? It must end immediately. We demand the intercession of God on our behalf because we are helpless. What man who lives on this planet belonging to God thinks and dares to do this against humanity? Certainly a man who doesn't plan on living very long here. This is not made for a man like that. They're perpetrating acts against humanity. Insanity. And who is providing the logistics? This is continuing. And what you need to remember, what we need to remember about this, it's not that there is these bombs falling upon, breaking. The bombs are breaking and breaking and breaking. Not this, not this. Who is sending the bombs and sending the bombs and sending the bombs? These bombs are being moved, big bombs, moving them, continuing to move them. How are you able to continue this? How are you able to get this much ammunition to be able to continue and continue? This, who is doing this? God, help us. Your loving daughter, Catherine Elwan. And this is a message to Ahmed al-Shara and his company, his business. Release the prisoners of war in Idlib. This is written January 30th of 2024. Allahu Akbar.